communication. So I don't study gender differences. So I'll allow that for the sake of this conversation. I will give that concession for the sake of this conversation. None of that is an excuse for message boards filled with women being sawed in half and rape threats and people saying that they should hang each other.
Well. For the record, I don't get the joke, and I don't think it's funny. I don't think it was funny.
I didn't say I thought it was funny. I said I get the joke.
Yeah. Oh, I know you didn't. I'm just saying that you can't tell when, like for me, for example, when I was going through your timeline, I couldn't tell that was any type of satire. So it just looks like you're wishing more women to die in the sewage industry. You know what I mean? I mean, is that okay?
Oh, well, I mean, look, I think you really have to understand, and I'm not trying to justify what I'm saying, but I'm simply saying that definitely in the circles I follow on Twitter, everyone does kind of take the piss out of each other. I suppose I was taking the piss out of, the whole conversation.
Yeah. Well, you asked Casey a question a second ago.
I have a point that goes towards the sewage industry thing also, sure. To you're saying that more men are in that industry. More women are probably in the care industry for children and seniors and nursing, where they're exposed to all kinds of diseases with the same sort of safety measures. So I was getting to that. Well. Not necessarily. Oh my goodness. Do you think a lot of childcare workers get paid minimum wage or lower? And that they're exposed to a myriad of disease. And that's just an assumption. That's an assertion and an assumption. And without evidence, you're just saying that so that you can defend your really poor taste joke.
I don't think I need to justify what someone finds funny to someone else. Everyone has different tastes of humor.
You don't have to justify.
I thought this was meant to be about. This was meant to be about incels, not some silly offhand joke I made in a silly thread.
Well, we don't have to make it. We don't have to make it about that. I was just when we were. I was going through looking for somebody to come in here and talk about incels. I asked you specifically if you were would you identify as an incel, and you said no. And some of the things, without the context of you saying that it was a joke, to me seemed like you leaned that way. So I was trying to suss out if you really were or not. But with the different context, that okay.
I think
that's why I asked.
Like you was, yeah. But I mean, like you were saying earlier, when you see the kind of thing with rape threads and gore threads, I do think that is quite despicable, if I'm going to be honest as well. Yeah. And my fundamental solution is to kind of promote male spaces and male identity.
So is one of your solution points for women being in the workplace that only men be allowed in the workplace and women be where?
Well, the logical conclusion, if you're going by this road of logical conclusionism, obviously I think it's clear to say that I'm a bit more traditionalistic than a lot of other people in our current society. And I think there are definitely some industries where women certainly thrive, those being psychology, care industry. I think those are definitely industries where women thrive, but there are definitely others where they don't thrive as much. That's for sure.
So do you think that industries should be separated by gender? What I'm asking is what's your solution for women in the workplace? Do you think that jobs should be segregated by gender, or that women should not be allowed in the workplace? What's your solution to this whole men and women being in the workplace together, as if that's some kind of serious problem?
I mean, if it worked 70 years ago, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to go back then.
It didn't work 70 years ago.
So that's why the society progressed, is because that didn't work. It might have worked for men.
I think we certainly beat the Germans twice, I think that kind of society where men worked in the workforce, it certainly did work.
Women built the weapons while men were gone. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow. So one example of women working in industry, big deal.
Wow. You didn't answer the question. Saying it worked 70 years ago isn't answer the question. What is your answer today? Do women only get to do a list of jobs, and men only get to do a list of jobs? And who gets to pick that list? We don't get to go to sewage plants even if we want to, because somebody might want to talk about dick and we might get upset.
Well, partially,
I talk about dick all the time.
So do I.
Oh, well, I mean,
we talk about dick all the time. I don't know what your fucking problem is.
That is true. They do.
So do you think is your solution that women stay home? Is that your solution? Women stay home and raise families?
Well, I mean, yeah, there are definitely economic benefits to it as well.
Okay, so what about somebody like me? Okay, I can't have children. Despite wanting them, I can't have children. So I'm getting advanced degrees, and I'm in the rocket science industry. Okay, so I do shit. So what should I do? Because obviously I can't be a rocket scientist because that would be a men's space, right? So what do I do?
Have you considered adopting?
Iron?
Maybe she doesn't like kids.
Iron. So I mean, what if I liked my career?
Well, then, good luck with your career. I guess I don't agree with you then.
So you think I shouldn't be allowed to have a career?
I think.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. You don't agree that she should be able to do that?
I think that in the current year, to fundamentally solve some of our issues, kind of avoid, the whole. Look, let me just discuss something.
Solving the issue of men being pissed off means that women need to go the hell home?
Let me discuss.
That men are pissed off because we're not home?
Let him
go home. So you guys aren't going to throw your toys out of the pram?
Let him finish this point real quick so we can respond. Go ahead, Sal.
Okay. What I was going to say is, well, this is a bit more kind of a context, but I guess for most of history, we've all been kind of, we haven't been monogamous. We've been a fairly hypergamous society. And now this has been fairly in a tribal kind of aspect. In the last 2,000 years or so, we have become a monogamous society. Now, this has had many kind of benefits to it, such as not spending all your energy trying to chase tail, and has led to society where all the energy has been pushed to one point, to create empires, civilization, conquest of other nations. Not on the same aspect that we saw 3,000 years ago. This has been at a much more refined level with the monogamous society. Now, it's only been in the last 70 years where this whole idea of a explicit monogamous society has been destroyed. And we've seen the great consequences of this, those being INCEL, children at 40, marriage at 40 as well. These kind of aspects haven't led to the most profitable society. It's led to, look at somewhere like Japan, for example. They've got a declining birth rate, and I think you can definitely say that it's partially due to the fact that we've moved out of a monogamous society.
Oh,
Let Logic talk.
Shannon. Yeah, let's hear from Logic on that, and then we'll come back to the women. Logic.
Whoa, I hear myself.
We hear you fine.
No, I hear myself in my own ear very clearly. It's fading out.
Oh.
All right, maybe it's getting better. Fuck, it's really hard to talk, man, when I can hear myself in my own ear. Okay, I think it's better now.
Dave.
All right.
There you go.
About this whole monogamous society thing, I don't really have anything to say right now. But just going back to this thing about the jobs, right? I'm a bit confused about what exactly the proposed solution is. So you were mentioning how women, in certain jobs women thrive, and in certain jobs men thrive, and men tend to thrive in the blue collar jobs where they can shit talk and kind of get kind of have their bro interactions kind of thing. But then you seem to also really be upset that women are in these more formal sort of, I guess you said self-censored or controlled office type jobs. But they, by that logic, they seem to kind of thrive in that kind of job. So what really is the problem with them being there and not being so much into the blue collar work?
Well, they definitely do thrive, but at the cost of men.
So you're just pissed because I'm your boss? That's what you're mad about?
No.
Is that the way you're phrasing it?
I'm asking you, is that what they're mad about? Is that what incels are mad about? You're pissed because I'm your boss?
What do you mean by it? Well, they thrive at the cost of men. What does that mean? Can you clarify that?
Well, I mean, I think there were definitely, this is just a bit of an allegoric example, but there was a show, I think it was like some survival island kind of thing, where they chucked 10 men on an island, then 10 women on another island. And the men were certainly getting shelter set up where the women were still starving. I think that's just one example. And then the men came, he started to get shelter set up and then was kicked off. I think
is this a reality TV show?
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, well, I think it was kind of like, I can't remember what it was, but this was just like it's a bad example, but this is just one kind of way that it is, I suppose. You know, men.
You don't think that they maybe cast those shows for stereotypical behaviors for the sake of
argument
drama
from Survivor?
So that people will watch?
You can look at other examples in society. I mean, how
it's not exactly
most of the male painters in the Renaissance were men. You know, most of the scientific minds of the last few thousand years have been men without fail. Most of the great political leaders have been men.
Okay, well, let's say that you have, like, say, nursing or daycare work or something like that, where women are, you know, this is sort of the stereotypical, like, women jobs, right? And you would say, I guess, that women thrive in those jobs, right? How is that not at the cost of men who want to go into those jobs and find it being, I guess, from your perspective, like a more feminized workspace? Because you seem to be complaining that office jobs are like that, but then it's okay that daycare jobs are like that?
Well, I mean, I think it's okay if there's, like, it's a female kind of explicit workplace, you know? I think if you know what you're getting into, you're going into that kind of environment, that it is going to be a very feminine kind of workplace. That's the thing, I suppose.
Well, then don't go into an office job, I guess, if you think that it's a feminized workplace. Go work in the you know, dig a ditch or something. I don't quite I don't quite understand. And this is coming from a person who worked for a lot of years in an office job, and I just don't quite understand what problem you're seeing that I never saw.
Well, I think I'm looking at it from a perspective of, I guess I'm looking at it from a perspective of hearing from my mates behind kind of closed doors, where you, in a kind of male-only environment, where it's definitely, you hear the issues of what was happening in the environment getting fully exposed, I suppose. When you see things where it's very kind of passive-aggressive bullying, for example, of men getting bullied passively aggressively by women.
How?
Could it be that men just don't like
so the
working for
issue,
women?
because in man kind of jobs, there tends to be non-passive aggressive bullying.
Yeah, it's very kind of.
So is the distinction between, like, explicit bullying and passive aggressive bullying, or?
Well, I think that, and this is probably from my opinion, I suppose, with when men bully other men, you know, it's definitely, there may be an aspect of actual bullying in it, but, you know, you can always leave that as water under the bridge in a few weeks, 1 or 2 days. Whereas I think with women, you know, they have memories of a snake, and it's very long with what they believe.
That is a bullshit generalization. That is a bullshit generalization.
I know it's a generalization.
Yeah, I'm not quite getting it.
It seems like you want to kind of have it. I'm gonna try to calm down. I have to apologize again. I said you were gonna throw your toys out of the pram. I have to apologize again. I'm getting worked up because I am a woman, and I'm a woman who works in a.
You are?
No, I have a decent job. I am.
Get her off, Dave. Get her off.
I'm educated and I have a decent job and I try to be reasonable and balanced. But when I hear somebody tell me that I shouldn't be in my position, I should instead, and I'm also a mom, that I should be home so that I can make room for somebody else, somebody who may not be